this may be the greatest 7 fight streak I've ever seen. One of the greatest UFC events I've ever watched live. This completely lived up to the hype. I cannot believe we got 7 knockouts in a row. Brutal fashion. We had probably the second biggest upset of all time besides the Strickland-Hamzat fight. We had Pereira getting nearly flatline KO. We had just everything. This card was fucking incredible. The atmosphere, the arena, the view, the just straight up aura that this card had was beautiful. I did not like at the bottom of the screen like the names and the timer. I didn't like that because they made the names the same color as the mat, which was a little ugly to look at. But besides that, the presentation of this card was near perfection. And like the crowd was pretty dead. I'm not gonna lie, the crowd wasn't great because it was filled with like non-UFC fans. It was filled with a bunch of celebrities and business people, as per usual in these big events. But there was a viewing party like not very far away. Like you could see it in the background, and that was like the heartbeat of this event. You could hear them in this event the whole time. It was crazy. Lopez and Sean O'Malley were definitely the, true stars of this event. And speaking of Diego Lopez, let's start off with the first fight of the night. Steve Garcia versus Diego Lopez. I said Diego Lopez was going to win by KO, and I almost predicted this fight to a T. I said Steve Garcia will be winning this fight until he isn't. And I'm not going to lie, for the first 7 minutes of this fight, Steve Garcia looked like a superstar. He was piecing Diego Lopez up. He was landing anything at will. He was barely even getting hit. Diego Lopez, he looked like he was like starstruck pretty much. He looked like he was afraid of the moment for a bit. And in that first round, it was kind of devastating to watch because he wasn't throwing much. He was throwing a lot of singular punches. And Garcia had his number in that first round. But the thing about Garcia is he's chinny. He doesn't have that chin, and I don't think he has the grit that Diego Lopez has. And one of the things I said going into this fight was I don't think Diego Lopez is going to get knocked out. I think he's way too durable, and he's way too, he has way too much height to get flatlined or get like knocked down and TKO'd. He will keep fighting no matter what. And that's exactly what happened. He made it into a dogfight in the second round, and he caught Steve Garcia, and it was an incredible knockout. The crowd erupted. Diego Lopez possibly has the most cold photo I've ever seen. Him standing up on the fence with the White House in the background. Fantastic photo. It should be his Instagram profile picture. But Steve Garcia just started trading. Like Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, last 10 seconds type throwing down, throwing wild hooks at each other. And you're not going to beat Diego Lopez in that type of fight. Diego Lopez caught him with a hook, sat him down, and then carried on with ground and pound and just flatlined him. He went out completely. It was a crazy 30-second period because they just went ham for no reason. It was a very technical fight until, I don't know if Diego Lopez clipped Steve Garcia and then Garcia felt like he wanted to get that back. It was kind of like how Izzy Pfeiffer went, where Izzy was just piecing him up on the back foot or on the front foot. He wasn't really getting hit, and then randomly a flip switch and he wanted to go brawl and he got clipped and put down. It was really similar to that. And Diego Lopez clipped him, put him down with a vicious hook, and then followed up with ground and pound and just sat Steve Garcia out. One big thing about this fight is Diego Lopez was talking about moving up to lightweight after this fight. I don't think he can. He was outsized in this fight for the first time, and he looked uncomfortable. He looked like he couldn't get going. And I think if he moves up to lightweight, pretty much his entire game will be massively dampened. His size advantage is one of the biggest parts of his game, like that physicality he presents in the fight. And I think he loses that at lightweight. I really hope he doesn't go up to lightweight. And I don't think he will. After this performance, I don't think he will. I think he's definitely in line for a title shot, not against Volk. After Volk retires, I think he'll probably get the first title shot. I would book him against Yair Rodriguez. They had that heated segment at UFC something. Mexico, I think it was UFC Mexico. And they were going right back at each other. That's a fight that everyone wants to see. It's a close fight. And I really think that should be the next fight. But Yair is like dead, dude. He got fucking old yellered. I don't know what happened to him. He hasn't fought since Pitbull. And he hasn't even, no one has seen from him. It's like when Danny Rodriguez ended up in the fucking Taiwanese prison. He's locked up somewhere. But anyways, I understand why Diego Lopez is being put on every big card ever. It's because he performs. In those big moments, he performs. He got a brutal knockout at UFC 300. He nearly knocked out someone that cannot be fucking knocked out in Brian Ortega at the Sphere event. And at this event, he brutally knocked out Steve Garcia. People say he has favoritism. There's a reason for his favoritism. It makes sense. And I cannot wait to see what Diego Lopez does next. He's my second favorite fighter after Yuri Prochazka. And I think this was a great performance. Moving on to a performance I didn't really care about, and I'm not going to really speak about too much. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. This was a mismatch. Kyle Dawkins is not very good. He shelled up immediately after getting hit on the feet. He got taken down immediately. I think it was like 440. At the time it was at 440. And Bo Nickel fainted. He threw an overhand. And they got into a clinch position. And Bo Nickel just picked him up and slammed him onto the ground. And after that, Dawkins really didn't have much to offer for the rest of the fight. He was on his back. He body triangled himself on the bottom. He wasn't putting up much of a fight. Bo Nickel would create separation, land big elbows. He cut Kyle Dawkins on the bottom. And eventually Kyle Dawkins was able to just stall out the position. And the referee actually stood them up, which was crazy to see because they never do that for Bo Nickel. And they rarely do it for any other fighter. They stood him up at, I think, 1:50. And on the feet, for some reason, Kyle Dawkins couldn't take a punch from pillow hands Bo Nickel. And Bo Nickel landed a combination. I think it was a straight right that caught him. Kyle Dawkins just fell to the ground and accepted getting TKO'd. He just shelled up and got ground and pound finish. It wasn't a great performance by Kyle Dawkins. I really think they should cut him or feed him to like Mansur Abdul-Malik or Tiba Gutierrez. Because he has somewhat of a name now because he knocked out Pereira or Mikel Pereira. He beat GM3. He was on this card. He has somewhat of a name. So just feed him to the people that you want to build up. Bo Nickel, on the other hand, he looked improved on the feet. His grappling looked better. He looked more confident in himself. I was never in fear of his jiu-jitsu. Again, his submission game isn't that high level. But he definitely earned himself a ranking spot or a fight to get into the rankings. Personally, I think everyone in the rankings is a massive threat to him. And I would arguably pick everyone in the top 15 to beat him. Besides Roman Dolidze, which is the fight I think they should make. Roman Dolidze is pretty much immune to causing harm to another human being. And I think that's the fight Bo Nickel will get into the top 15 with. Pretty good performance by Bo Nickel. He showed everything. He showed out on the American stage. He got a knockout. I'm still stunned that 7 out of 7 of these fights ended in KO. No submissions. A few close submissions, but other than that, I mean, this card was a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. And we had probably the second place fight of the year in that Gaethje to Poirier fight. Moving on to another slaughter. Roofy versus Chandler. Chandler looked scared, and Chandler would, like, you could see him physically get hurt by every punch. He got knocked down, I think, 3 times. Roofy was just walking forwards, landing everything at will. There was no point in this fight where you thought Chandler had a chance. Chandler attempted to wrestle, but his takedowns were like quickly stuffed, or he would just give up on the takedown immediately. And eventually, Michael Chandler just kept backing up to the fence and got caught by a spinning back kick. He was hurt, he got grounded, and then him trying to get back up, Roofy landed a beautiful uppercut and just kind of laid him out on the ground. And the ref stepped in. This is a slaughter. They were hoping for this. I mean, I think Roofy wanted more of a stylish KO, but Chandler is very durable, but he just doesn't take the punches the same way. And it's a shame. I mean, honestly, I don't know what you do with Chandler. You can do two routes with him. You can give him to Conor. Now that you know Conor McGregor would probably knock out Michael Chandler. Or you can just feed him to every prospect. Like, give him Manuel Torres, give him Tom Nolan. You just feed him to the people that you want to build up. But honestly, I think Michael Chandler deserves to be, cut. Because he's not doing anything. His fights aren't even that entertaining anymore. He just gets brutalized. He doesn't have the same durability. He doesn't even have the same heart. Because he does kind of give up. He shells up, he reacts to pain completely differently. And it's just not a good look. And all around, I don't know what to say. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And yeah, I mean, that's about all I can say. There's not much to really break down on this one. Because Roofy did just beat Chandler's ass for 5 minutes. 2 minutes, 2:50. Chandler got knocked out in the first round. So, back-to-back first-round knockouts. I mean, not very flashy, but Roofy, I don't know what you do with him. I was going to book him against the winner of BSD versus Patty, but I think the winner of that is going to be BSD. And we all know what happened in that fight, right? We all know BSD knocked him out. Or no, he submitted him. So you can't really make that fight. And I think Patty's going to fight someone else later on this card. So getting into the first of 2 heavyweight bouts on this card. Josh Hokett versus Derek Lewis. Hold on, quick disclaimer. You may hear vehicles in the background. I am yet again recording this outside at 3 a.m. I don't have a mic, so I'm using my phone. So that's why the audio is kind of shitty. And I did just have to move from my spot because security pulled up and I didn't want to get talked to. So, this is now in a different location, so you'll probably hear the cars a little bit more. But, getting back to the fight, Derek Lewis needs to retire. He's not good anymore. He doesn't react to punches the same. He's way too slow. He doesn't have grit. He gives up on any sign of adversity. He looks for the opportunity to shell up. He looks his age. That one-shot power isn't really there anymore. I said this in my breakdown. He's not really sliming people out anymore. I mean, he slimed out Taliesin Teixeira, but that guy is fucking terrible. And Josh Hokett is just really high level. Josh Hokett landed his takedown at will, and that was some of the worst fighting I've ever seen. Derek Lewis looked like a fucking beached whale. He was on his back. He couldn't get up. Josh Hokett was just standing above him, landing ground and pound. Derek Lewis would adjust his position, get hit with more ground and pound, more ground and pound, more ground and pound. And it honestly wasn't a great performance from Josh Hokett either. I mean, I get that he was fighting cautiously because of the Derek Lewis power, but he didn't do much. He got on top. He mounted him. He landed a bunch of ground and pound. And then he went for an armbar. He had it in, but like armbarring fat people are kind of difficult. And Derek Lewis kind of just took the opportunity to just lay there and get some breathing without being punched. And Derek Lewis was screaming, wrenching on the armbar, but Derek Lewis had no reaction. It was a little embarrassing because you can tell Josh Hockett really thought he had that locked in, but he didn't. The fight went into round 2, which I was really surprised about. I mean, I would have bet first round knockout. Like, I would have thought Hockett speed blitzes Lewis, which he kind of did in the second round. But I would have expected it to happen earlier, and I would have expected Lewis to give up a lot earlier. I mean, he tried to give up in the first round, but they just didn't let him. And Hockett wasn't doing enough to make Derek Lewis quit. But in the second round, Derek Lewis looked tired. He looked gassed. Any type of wrestling destroys Derek Lewis. In the second round, Derek Lewis actually had a really well-defended takedown. Hockett got a single leg, and Derek Lewis landed a few really good shots on Hockett, and Hockett looked a little bit dazed at times in the fight. Like, Derek Lewis would land, and you see Hockett get a little buzzed, but nothing too bad. He was so much faster than Derek Lewis. Like, the punches, he was able to just kind of weave out of the way of a lot of Derek Lewis's punches. There was a few head kick attempts from Derek Lewis. Like, he wasn't really mixing it up all too well. It was kind of boring. I mean, eventually, I think Derek Lewis just got crumpled by body shots, and he just got overwhelmed and kind of laid down, similar to what he normally does. He didn't really get knocked down. He got hit a bunch of times and then like dove on the mat. It's pretty much what happens all the time. Good performance from Hockett. In the post-fight interview, Hockett said Michelle Obama's a man. He kind of gave up on his little poem that he normally does in a post-fight interview, and he was just praising God. And he kind of broke character. You could tell it meant a lot to him because it was obviously America. He's the American guy. And it was, he called out Alex Pereira. And spoiler alert, that's the fight I'm making. I think Josh Hockett's next fight, originally I had him going against Sergey Pavlovich. But, I mean, Alex Pereira versus Josh Hockett, incredibly winnable for both fighters. And I don't know if Alex Pereira wants to stay at heavyweight, but if he does, I think Josh Hockett is a very approachable fight for him. I think the lack of size and power that Hockett has is definitely like a benefit to Alex Pereira, because obviously we just saw Alex Pereira get fucking slimed out. But yeah, so Josh Hockett is again still in the top 5, didn't get slimed out. Moving on to Sean O'Malley versus Amin Zahabi. Zahabi was fucking terrified. Every second of this fight, Zahabi was terrified of getting punched. He was doing this like running leg kick constantly. Pretty much, Zahabi didn't throw any actual punches. He was just spamming leg kick and leg kick and leg kick and just getting pieced up on the feet by Sean O'Malley. Again, I predicted Zahabi was not going to wrestle in this fight. He decided to strike, and he got put out for it. I think the stoppage was a little early, because we did see Zahabi pop right back up after the ref stopped. But another angle did kind of show that Zahabi face plants after getting up. But I think a few more ground and pound shots would have really sealed the deal. Yes, you don't want people to take unnecessary damage, but you also want to give them the opportunity to fight back. And considering who the person was, Zahabi, known for taking incredible beatings, having one of the best comeback wins in recent memory, was getting absolutely brutalized by Aldo and coming back to win that. I think you should have given him the opportunity to survive. But they didn't. Sean O'Malley aura farmed. He knocked him down, and immediately, before the ref ended the fight, saluted the fans. He's back on a win streak. He finally got another KO, and I think that KO really solidified him as the number 1 contender after Merab. win or lose in that Peter Yan versus Merab fight for the title. I think Sean O'Malley fights Peter Yan, win or lose. And I mean, just Sugar Sean is back. He's back to his normal self. He looked a lot more himself in this fight. He looked a lot more calm. He was landing his combos. He got his KO, which he's been struggling to get as of recent. He landed a clean-ass combination to drop Zahabi. And then he dropped him again. It was a pretty boring fight up until the KO, just because Zahabi wasn't really fighting back. And he was a shell of himself. He was very scared. And Sean capitalized on that and got the finish. I don't know where they go with Zahabi after this. I mean, where do you go with Zahabi? You give him David Martinez, Peyton Talbot, maybe Vinicius Oliveira after the Andre Philly fight. You drop him down in the rankings, definitely. I mean, he was on an 8-fight win streak, but you could argue that he lost to both of his most recent opponents. And now that he got slimed out by Sean O'Malley, I think people are going to properly rate him. Moving on to the co-main event, Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. Alex Pereira fumbled. He had man titties. He was clearly out of his depth in this fight. Cyril Gane just looked a step ahead of him in every encounter. Alex Pereira was getting clipped. He was clearly the slower fighter. Lighter man skill did not apply in this one. Pretty much, Alex Pereira had the worst possible game plan you could have in a fight against Cyril Gane. To beat Cyril Gane, you need to pressure him, limit his movement, and Alex Pereira was content on staying on the outside, letting Cyril Gane bounce around him, land his punches, and look for that one-shot KO. And it caught up to him. Cyril Gane landed a clean 2-punch combination, dropped Alex Pereira, and then just brutalized the back of Alex Pereira's head, dude. So many back of the head shots. I think I counted 10 back of the head shots, because Alex Pereira, obviously in fear of getting knocked out, shot a double leg, or shot a single leg, and Cyril Gane just brutalized the back of his head. It was a shame to see Alex Pereira get slimed out like that, because now, what do? He's 38 years old. He doesn't want to build his way up for another title shot. He kind of missed out on the John Jones fight. He missed out on the Tom Aspinall fight. I think the biggest fight you could do right now is him against Josh Hogan. But even in the post-fight interview, he stated that he doesn't know if he's going to stay at heavyweight. He looked fat. He did. He didn't look like himself. He was slower. He was sluggish. His defense was a lot worse. He couldn't control range. His leg kicks weren't as effective. He was getting his legs kicked apart by Cyril Gane. And I mean, the movement of Cyril Gane was giving Pereira a lot of problems, and Pereira got laid out. He didn't get flatlined, which is a good thing. He got TKO'd, so he could he could probably fight in November, December. But I think this is going to be a learning experience for him. I think he's going to come back better. But I don't know at what weight class, because he vacated his title for this opportunity. Very, very bad performance from Alex Pereira. Probably the worst performance we've seen in the UFC. Just body shape and just overall technique. He had a terrible game plan, and I don't know what he was really expecting. I think he went in expecting him to get a first round KO, and he just didn't. But one thing that he can talk about to his grandchildren is he had the best entrance of the night. He had a phenomenal entrance. He was on the stairs of the White House, and he did the arrow thing, and you could hear the crowd go crazy for that. It was pretty aura-filled. But yeah, Gane won. Gane actually got a KO, first KO since fucking, Tai Tuivasa? And it wasn't like a TKO. He slimed out Alex Pereira. I mean, it was technically a TKO, but we all know Alex Pereira was going to get flatlined in that fight. The ref saved him. He looked really good. He did. I doubt Gane in every one of his fights, because I don't think he's as dedicated to the fighting game as other fighters, but it's going to be him versus Tom Aspinall next. and it's going to be a much, much closer fight in the odds. I still favor Tom Aspinall because of the wrestling, but Cyril Gane may become the undisputed championship when Tom Aspinall is healed. Crazy fights, a crazy card so far. Multiple first round finishes. And yeah, this was a first round finish, right? I don't think this went into the second round. Kind of crazy that it ended really early. I was expecting a decision. It might have gone into the second round now that I think about it, but whatever. Moving on to the biggest upset or the second biggest upset of all time. Justin Gaethje fucking dismantled Ilia Topuria. And you can say Justin Gaethje followed a game plan and dismantled one of the best boxers I've ever seen. Ilia Topuria, all I can say is he's too small. If he would have went up to welterweight, he would have been killed. He would have been brutalized. His punches don't hit the same at lightweight. He's not as strong at lightweight. I mean, he definitely had the speed advantage, and he was hurting Gaethje. But I think the biggest problem in this fight is Topuria went into this fight thinking he was going to win. He went into this fight too confident. He was headhunting. He was way too emotional. He was fighting with ego. He wasn't following a game plan. He was headhunting. He was just trying to kill Justin Gaethje. He was not keeping range at all. He was walking forwards, getting jabbed up by every punch Justin Gaethje threw. And he would react on every feint. Justin Gaethje kept feinting a takedown, and in the scramble hit an uppercut. One of his best techniques is that uppercut in the clinch, and he landed that to perfection, and it broke Ilia's orbital bone, and Ilia was giving up pretty much. He was in that third round. He was wilting. He was hurt. He was kept scratching at his eye. His team tried to end the fight in the third round. He wanted to keep fighting. And in that fourth round, he was winning the fourth round. He was doing really well. And then he fell off the top of Justin Gaethje. And Justin Gaethje landed a mean body knee, like on the ground to like a shelled up Topuria. And Topuria reacted terribly. And you could see he was visibly out of it. He was gassed. Someone that went 25 minutes with Josh Emmett and didn't break a sweat was completely gassed. I really think the humidity and the outside affected him massively, more than anyone expected. And it just didn't look good. I mean, I don't know where you go with Ilia. Ilia lost out on the biggest fight of his career against Islam in this fight. You can't fight Islam anymore because he can never move up to welterweight. He would have been killed at welterweight. And I don't know. Now that I remember, I'm booking him against Paddy Pimblett. Win or lose against BSD. I think Paddy versus Ilia is the biggest fight you can give Ilia right now. And more likely is if Conor McGregor is able to beat Max Holloway and Conor McGregor calls out Justin Gaethje, we could see Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje for the undisputed lightweight championship in 2026. It's a real possibility, and I'm picking Conor McGregor to beat Max Holloway in that fight. But back onto this fight, Ilia Topuria loses his undefeated record. Brutal. Two of the best undefeated fighters in all of UFC losing their championship, losing their undefeated streak in back-to-back pay-per-views, Hamzat and then Ilia. Back-to-back incredible upsets. Justin Gaethje just looked perfect. His game plan was beautiful. His leg kicks were beautiful. His boxing was really clean. He was landing the better punches. I mean, in the second round, he nearly got finished by body shots. You could see he was really in pain. But just the fight IQ of Ilia was terrible in this fight. Why go for that submission? He had Justin Gaethje out of that fight on the ground, and then he started going for arm bars and fucking triangle chokes. His IQ was off. And I think the fame and the positive reaction that he's been getting and like the aura of invincibility that people have been giving him have really gotten to him. And I think that's what cost him in this fight. He was getting hurt in every encounter. He was pretty much getting rocked, stunned. He wasn't taking punches well. And Justin Gaethje is the undisputed champion. Justin Gaethje could never get it. He lost both of his previous fights. It's the same story as Dustin Poirier. But Justin achieved his goal in front of the White House. It was a beautiful moment. Justin Gaethje is one of the most entertaining fighters in the world. And I think it's almost a lock that Arman Tsarukyan is the next opponent. And I think Arman's going to destroy Justin. So we're going to have Arman as the world champion. Ilya could recover from this. I think, personally, Ilya should move down to featherweight. Yes, the weight cut is terrible, but he's just not a lightweight. He's too small. He's going to get fucked up by everyone. Like, I think Paddy has a good chance against him. And yes, I know recency bias. People are going to say that Ilya is still a phenomenal fighter. He is one of the best fighters in the world. He brutalized multiple GOATs. He is still clearly one of the best fighters in the world, but I think the size advantage is really going to give him problems. Yes, he fucking destroyed Charles Oliveira, but Charles Oliveira is a former featherweight. I think he's going to find that natural lightweights are going to really give him problems, and he won't be able to flatline him like he does at featherweight. And yeah, I mean, this was a brutal performance, like really eye-opening. We've never seen Ilya Poirier get wheeled off. He got wheeled out of the arena. Could be double orbital broken. He could not, his eyes were so puffed up, so bruised, so swollen. It was a terrible sight to see. You could see that he was just like, he was soul crushed after that fight. He didn't even get knocked out. They ended it on the round 4. They ended it on the stool. They called in the towel, or they threw in the towel, and he was just dejected. Justin Gaethje, obviously one of the greatest lightweights of all time, well-deserved victory. But again, I can't understand what Ilya went into this fight thinking, because he didn't fight like himself. Like Justin Gaethje followed a game plan. That's the reason he won. Justin never got scrappy. He never gave Ilya the opportunity to beat him. He followed the game plan. He kept landing those uppercuts, which destroyed the orbital of Ilya, and Ilya kept pulling at his eyes. It was inevitable that this fight was going to be stopped. Ilya had his opportunities in round 2. You could argue that it was 2-2 going into the 5th round, but it was definitely 3-1 going into the 5th. And I think that's what the scorecards had. I believe I saw it posted on Twitter. I think it was 3-1 with Ilya winning round 2. But incredible performance from Justin Gaethje. Genuinely breathtaking. He did it at the age of 38 years old. Ilya is going to be out for maybe a full year. I don't see him coming back until probably International Fight Week next year, because I think he's really going to have to adjust and just feel this loss, because he's undefeated. He was 17-0. His ego's definitely taking a massive hit. He's lost a lot of his aura, but I think he can come back stronger and better than ever. But he's definitely not getting a rematch. Arguably, he could get a rematch. He was very dominant as champion. Yes, did he even get a defense? He didn't get a defense, but he was on one of the best win streaks of all time. Max Holloway, Alex Volkanovski, Charles Oliveira, obviously. And this fight was competitive at times. You could give him the rematch, but you don't want Justin Gaethje sitting out for a year. So I think you give him Arman. I think you give Ilya a warm-up fight against someone lower in the rankings. And then I think you could go Ilya, Arman sometime in the late next year. And yeah, I mean, this card was just beautiful. This card was perfect. It's sad that this is not going to be an annual thing. This was much better than like the special attraction event at the Sphere. This was once in a lifetime. Every fighter fought like this was once in a lifetime. This felt special. This is probably my favorite pay-per-view besides UFC 300. And now we're going back to the Apex next week, which is just horrendous. But then we go back, or then we go to Abu Dhabi, or we go to Baku, whichever country that is. And then we get Conor McGregor on July 11th. And I'm telling you, I can see the vision. I mean, in reality, that Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway fight really just gained a lot of importance, because winner of that could get a title shot. But anyways, if you guys disagree with some of my opinions on the fight, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Bye.